How you
Okay.
doing?
I'm well, thank you, Emma.
That's good, and thank you for being on the Crossroads Cafe podcast with us today. It's lovely to have you here.
I'm delighted, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's lovely. So me and Stevie go back about 4 or 5 years now, I think. I met Stevie when I started working in direct selling for Sheer Sense. What was your title there, Stevie?
Associate Director.
Associate Director. And I remember when I met you, because I travelled from Essex to Devon, and they were putting us up at the time in Bobby Castle, which is a beautiful hotel here down in Devon in the moors. So beautiful countryside all around us. And I remember walking in, and I got sat next to you, and we were having afternoon tea, and you spoke so beautifully. And I just remember sitting there and just listening to what you had to say and thinking, I can learn so much from this woman. And we stayed in contact ever since. We're both now doing different things. We're not at that same company, but we stayed in contact, which is lovely.
It is lovely because I felt the same. You know, when people just gel, your energy is immense, and I loved that, and I was very much drawn to that. And then when you started talking about how beautiful Devon was and that you might consider living here, and I just thought, yes, because I came down here when my children were only 7 and 4, sorry, and they absolutely loved it. Once they got used to the smells of the countryside, and I took them down the coast to see the surfing, they were hooked. So that was a big thing for them.
Yeah, and that's it. It's such a beautiful place to be. I'm hugely grateful where we live. And you were one of the reasons, because I got chatting to you and you were telling me all of this stuff, and you were one of the reasons that we made that move and moved down. So Crossroads Cafe podcast, as the listeners already know, but we're all about supporting women who feel like they're at a bit of a crossroads and they're not too sure what route to take. Now, this can be in all aspects of their life, whether it's relationships or career. We tend to get a lot of women that are asking us questions around their career. They're at a crossroads where they're doing something maybe they're not happy doing. They want to set something up of their own, but like we all do, they overthink it, they procrastinate, they doubt themselves, they don't feel good enough. You know, there's all of this stuff that goes on that stops them from taking action. And that's why we love it, or I love it, when I get women as inspiring as you onto the podcast, and you can talk to us about your experiences and what you've done and how you've overcome the struggles and the hurdles and how you sort of navigated your way to doing what it is that you're doing today.
Well, I mean, certainly I know firsthand about how you come to a crossroads and you have to make very major decisions. And I'd reached a position in my corporate life in marketing that I couldn't or didn't really want to go any further with. And I wanted out. And I also was in a very toxic marriage, and I needed to get out of that as well. So there were two very major decisions that I was having to make here, because when you're in the corporate world as well, you are so falsely cushioned. You know, I had at that time, some years ago, a budget of £6 million just on advertising. And then suddenly when you go out to run your own business, you know, you're looking at your own bank account and thinking, geez, I've got like 200 quid to do something here, you know, maybe so some leaflets or whatever at the time. And so step into your power is what I would say, no matter how frightening it is. I was in a bit of a toxic marriage for 12 years, which isn't a long time actually in the grand scheme of things, but it was enough for me to know that I wanted to leave. Luckily, I didn't have any children, which was, I thank goodness for. I wasn't going to bring them into that toxic environment. So that was a very deliberate decision by myself not to have children. And of course, I didn't have children until quite a bit later when I met my soulmate. But that soulmate is out there. You will meet people who are very supportive of you and love you for who you are. You don't have to dim yourself down for somebody. stand in your light, stand in your power. And if you know that your environment is wrong for you, if you're in the wrong job, maybe you're in the wrong career. I found my work with astrology, when I found astrology 20 odd years ago, it helped me enormously to make the decisions that I did, because the astrology allowed me to deep dive into who I actually was and what my natural abilities were, what my talents were. You know, oftentimes we think, oh, I really like that, or oh gosh, I have a real passion for that, but you don't take it anywhere because you start self-doubting. You start thinking, oh, why on earth do I think I can do that? You know, but actually astrology gives you that support. It gives you that platform to think, hang on a minute, this is a natural ability of mine. I can explore this. I can explore this very authentically because it's part of me. And that made great sense to me. It helped me actually move away from corporate, go into business. I had two businesses that I went into. One was my own marketing consultancy, and the other was a cake manufacturing company that just happened to come along, the opportunity from scratch to start with my beautiful partner, my late partner, and we made a great success of that and the marketing consultancy. And so it can be done, even on a shoestring. It can definitely be done.
There's just this journey that they've been on. Do you know what I mean? It's like you say, you started in the marketing, or you worked within marketing in corporate and decided to go at it alone, but then you start in your marketing and then another opportunity comes up, and it's like you're so open for change.
Yes.
And then you navigate that opportunity, and now, which I want to get onto now, what you're doing now is completely different again. I mean, I know the principles are all the same, but it's completely different again. And you just think, for anyone that's thinking about doing something, what you're thinking about doing, you might not be doing that same thing in 5 years. But
absolutely.
The fact is that you just got started and you decided that you were going to commit to something, you were going to learn, and you were going to move through the process, and you navigate your way on to wherever it is that I suppose you end up.
Well, I think that Martin Luther King put it perfectly. He said, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. And that is true of most everything. And knowing my astrological energies, I need quite a lot of sort of stimulus. So I have a pretty low boredom threshold. So if something looks really great for me, then I will explore it. I bring in my business head quite a lot to say, well, okay, how, you know, that looks great, but how do I make it work? But you don't have to look for perfection. You don't need to know everything about a subject in order to explore it. It is very empowering when you can just support your own self from your inner core, your inner wisdom, your inner knowing that you can give these opportunities a chance. I see many, many clients who are in completely different jobs to what they actually would naturally be perfect at. And when we've actually had a chat about, you know, these natural skills, these natural abilities, and they say, oh my goodness me, I've been so interested in that line, say it's therapy, healing, something of that nature, and they will give it a go and spark their inner power, their inner support vehicle for people. And, you know, what better way of living than helping others? It's fantastic. And so that then gives you the confidence to go out and try something else that you might be interested in. Because let me say another thing, I've got this saying above my desk, which says, constant change is here to stay. And it is. And if you accept that and work with it and love it and live life to the absolute full, then you're never going to restrict yourself. You're never going to live in fear. You need to come out of living in fear and think, well, you know, so what if the worst happens? I mean, I lost everything twice in 2 recessions. You've got to be prepared to think, right, okay, if this happens, I need to be resourceful. I had 2 children by that stage when I lost everything. You just have to then look at remedies, look at options, look at how you can get yourself out of it again and go forward again. Don't be scared.
Yeah, and that's where the resilience comes in, and
yeah,
that's where I think, especially running your own business, you need that resilience. There's lots of fundamental skills that you need to be able to move things forward, and you only get that, like you mentioned, and I was looking at your notes, the fact that you'd hit rock bottom a couple of times.
Yeah.
But there's that brilliant saying, isn't there, that sometimes it takes losing everything that you thought you ever needed to actually gain everything that you ever wanted. It's not until you get to that
Absolutely.
point, yeah, where you
Totally.
sort of go, actually, was that really, is that what I needed? Maybe it wasn't, and you start building that again.
Well, this is it. Sometimes you need the kick up the proverbial, and okay, the 2 reasons, the times that we lost everything was market driven. So suddenly the interest rate went up. I think it was in 1998 by 15%. I mean, dear God, if you can imagine, we've been running along at like 0.5%, 0.25%, 0.75%, to suddenly, if your mortgage went up by 15%, you'd suddenly think, I can't cope with this. And we had built a small property portfolio up, and we just lost the lot. It's like a deck of cards. And when the marketplace does things like that, you have very little control over. But what you do have control over is how you react to it, how you believe, how you find the resilience and the resources to go forward and do things differently. I mean, whereas, we may have been going out for a meal with the kids to some swanky restaurant or other, we went down to the riverbank with a picnic, which cost us almost next to nothing. It's actually sort of looking at your options and thinking, and in fact, we loved it more. We loved actually immersing ourselves in nature, which we're very lucky to do here, especially. But it's how you overcome your challenges. Don't let your challenges define you. Let how you overcome your challenges define you.
That's amazing. I love that. So tell us a bit about what you do now, what your business is now.
Okay, well, in May last year, my late partner, who passed in September, but in May, he bought me a coaching course that I really, really was interested in. I've been doing astrology for over 20 years, 22 years, because I was introduced to it when I was having real issues with my 4-year-old son at the time, and I just couldn't work him out. He was from a different planet, and hence the little child star planners books that I make available now as a parental aid. They're great. I wish I'd had somebody give that to me when my babies were first born. So I was doing astrology in any event, and I was doing tarot, a bit of tarot reading, a bit of oracle card reading. And I came across this wonderful lady called Denise Lynn, who is a native Cherokee American lady, and with an amazing personal story herself. And she had put together this beautiful coaching course, which is soul coaching. I got very, very excited about this. Peter, my partner, bought me the course, which was fantastic. So I got involved with it. The whole concept of the soul coaching is to work with your inner wisdom and your inner knowing that we don't give enough time to whatsoever. When you connect with your inner wisdom and your inner knowing, you're connecting through quietude. You're connecting through giving yourself time to really tap in to your inner wisdom, but also to tap in, for me, my interpretation was to tap into the rhythm of the universe. We don't allow ourselves to do that. We might gaze at a full moon and think, wow, isn't that beautiful? But forget the tidal influence it has over us. You know, we are around about 80% water ourselves. So our emotions through our water content with the tide movement of the moon are going to be whipped up a wee bit. So knowing how to work with the rhythm of the universe is really important.
This
so
is
soul
really
coaching,
important stuff as well, isn't it, Stevie? This is really important stuff, because I don't think people understand. They don't understand this. Like,
no.
we limit ourselves so much because we don't recognize our potential, do we? And what you're doing within this is showing people how to go about recognizing that.
Absolutely. We all have the answers. We all do. We all have an oracle inside of us. And so it's really important for us to connect with it and tap into it. You know, when we think about the speed with which most of us work within our lives, I've stopped doing that. I have stopped. Time is a man-made restriction, if you like. The rhythm of the universe is different. We only have to look at nature to understand that rhythm. And quietude is really important. Now, how do you do that with 2 kids or 3 kids or 4 or 5 running around day in, day out, not allowing you that quietude? Well, that's where the astrology comes in for your child, so that you understand what their energies are and how to cope with them and how to occupy them when you actually need quietude for yourself. It's a perfect solution. You know, I mean, as I say, when I got into astrology first time around, I had 2 children, 2 businesses. I mean, I was hectic beyond belief, but I knew the value of quietude. And that's, you know, meditation, connecting with yourself, just giving yourself freedom to listen to what's inside and find the bliss and the joy from doing that.
Oh, it sounds all so yummy. It is. It's lovely. And I have had the child planners done for my kids, and I'm a huge advocate of them. I think they're fantastic.
Thank you.
It was initially with my middle child, because I was struggling. I was busy, like exactly what you've said. I can relate to everything you just said. I was busy working and all these ideas and these goals that I have for myself, because I'm a doer. I like to get things done, and there's goals that I like to meet. I've got, you know, a real vision for what I want my business and my life to look like. But then I'm also a mum, and that's really important. And that's what I brought these beautiful kids onto this planet. And I was really struggling with Elsie, really struggling with my middle child on how to manage her emotions and her energies and all of that kind of stuff. And the child planners have been just fantastic with really working that out and just understanding that we're all different and that we all have our own qualities, and that there are certain things that we can do that are going to help us communicate better with each other. And that was the key point, I think, you know, the key thing that I got out of having them. But now I'm like, I want one for myself, because I want to know, where do I sit? You know, what works best for me? I think I know what works best for me, but actually, am I tapping into that intuition? And I don't think I always do that.
Well, it's significant, isn't it? Because one of the things that we mentioned was time. And when you have the sort of blueprint, the cosmic blueprint, if you like, of your children and yourself, you understand how to use time much better, because you're not second guessing, you're not fighting or challenging, you're understanding, because you're actually going with the rhythm of that cosmic blueprint, which is absolutely fabulous. And when people understand it, and which is all in simple English, as you know, but when people get on board with it and do a lot of the things that are suggested within the little planners, life becomes so much easier. You've got your time to spend on your business, your partner, you know, your life, which is terribly important. And yes, the adult planners, why wouldn't you? If you're doing one for your child, why wouldn't you do one for yourself? Because then you can actually see the areas that harmonize and the areas that jar, and you can then start working on those to make for a much happier family life, as well as nourishing yourself.
Definitely. And it's that growth mindset. I think as parents, we can sometimes be pointing the finger, can't we? Because we're so busy and we've got all these things to do, and it's, oh, the child's different, it's their, it's them,
Yes.
they're not the same, all of this kind of stuff. They're awkward, or, they don't obey, or whatever it may be. When actually, there's something going on in all of us, isn't there? So
totally. And I must admit, I felt dreadful, what I'd put my child through, child psychology, speech therapy, counseling. I had gone down the route of, my child is different. There is something definitely wrong here. It's got nothing to do with what I'm doing. I've tried my best, etc., etc. Then when I actually looked at his zodiac energies through an astrologer who I sat down with all those years ago to say, look, I'm tearing my hair out. There's no obvious answers here from all of these people that I have consulted. What the heck is going on? And as soon as she went through his energies with me, it literally was that boom moment. It was, oh my God, I have been doing all the wrong things for this child completely, because I'd based everything on what I was doing for my older child, who had reacted very positively to everything that I was doing. And of course, he's completely different, because they are. Every one of us is individual. Every one of us. I mean, each of the little planners that I do and the adult planners, we're all born at a particular time where things are going on in the universe. Connecting with those planets and stars at the exact time of your birth is magic. And it's not replicated for something like a quintillion years, which is like instead of 1 million, which has 6 zeros, it's 1 with 30 zeros. That's the chance of it being replicated. So we are completely and utterly unique. And we just need to acknowledge that.
So for those listening, if that doesn't make you feel special, I don't know what will, because that certainly makes me feel special. So with regards to your business and what you're doing now, what are some of the things for anyone listening, wanting to maybe go into a similar field, or anything, whatever it is that they may be looking to transition into? What are some of the things that you do daily, or maybe some practices that you have, or habits that you have, that you feel sort of kept you on track and help move things forwards for you?
Well, since I've found that special area of quietude, which I have to say came more prominently from looking at the Denise Lynn work, she's a marvelous mentor, and I love all of her work. She's got some beautiful oracle cards. I do a lot of meditation, so I meditate quite briefly each day, about 15 minutes, nothing too elaborate. And I also, again, a recommendation by Denise was, every time that I do a reading, that in order to make one's antennae really sparkle, is that I have a cold shower. I have a cold shower every morning. Now, this isn't as hard as you think it is, because I don't go straight in with a cold shower. I actually have a normal warm shower, and then I just blast it to cold for a few minutes. And if you chant like a Red Indian type of chant, this is my way of coping with it, you don't feel the pain of the cold, but what you feel is the absolute amazing tingle. And it's very healthy for you. It increases your immune system. It just keeps you vital and revitalized. And then I took that further to cold water sea swimming, which I do, not every day, I hasten to add, but also I do go onto the beach as much as possible. I go into nature every day. And it's that type of connection. It's giving yourself time to just tap into that quietude. And, you know, if you're interested in this type of work, is to, you know, just get involved with learning a little bit more about astrology. I translated Astro Speak into English for the work that I do, because I think it's much more understandable than talking about, you know, sort of Jupiter conjunct Neptune. That's significant, by the way, but nobody would know what on earth that is unless they were into astrology. Oh. So if you're interested in just connecting with yourself, meditation is great. It can take you into that sanctuary area within. You can listen to what messages are coming through to you, and then embrace them into your life.
Sounds wonderful. Do you know what? I asked that question to so many women that are at all different stages in their business, and no one's ever come back to me with such a calm, sort of serene answer like that. You mentioned stillness, and even things like, you know, eating and drinking organic produce and all this kind of stuff. So
that's really important.
This is all about inner well-being, isn't it?
It is. It is, because you know how you eat. I always believe in doing things with compassion. So even how you shop, you should shop with compassion. You should understand where your food is coming from. Organic food to me is an absolute must. There is an awful lot of toxicity out there, and I just feel that we need to have a cleansed system, and also to encourage our children to eat organic as well, because, you know, I mean, there's apparently only about 60 years worth of good soil left on this planet, and unless we actually protect it and save it, and it's good for us as well, then we only have ourselves to blame down the line. So yeah, eating organic, thinking compassionately, how you shop, and coming from a position of kindness, not just to others, but to yourself, is really important. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't keep thinking about failures. What was it that I used to say? First attempt in learning is the word fail. You know, don't worry about it. Everyone fails. We all do. But you just have to sort of think, well, okay, that didn't work for now. For whatever reason, it could be revisited. There's always a season for everything, and what is yours will never pass you by. So don't worry about it.
Very wise, Stevie. I'm learning a hell of a lot today. What would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've had throughout your life and throughout your career?
I did have an issue when I was having my second child. I had some complications, and I had flatlined and had an out-of-body experience at that time.
Is while she was giving birth?
It was 2 weeks after. I hemorrhaged badly and was rushed back into hospital again. You have to sort of be thankful, if you like, that you're in the present day, and fill your heart with gratitude, no matter how small the you know, those blessings are. Just fill yourself with gratitude. I lost my partner last September. He was the most amazing man. We'd been together for 33 years, and I'm full of gratitude. I miss him, yes, as everybody does when you have somebody close to you pass. But I'm full of gratitude because, you know, he left an awful lot of love to share amongst us, and myself and the boys and the family. And so gratitude, acceptance, accept what's happened to you throughout your life for what it is, be honest about it, and then just move on, have the courage to move on. And now is a perfect time to do that as we go towards a beautiful new moon solar eclipse this coming Saturday, 30th of April, where we've got the sun and the moon. The sun is a masculine energy, the moon is a feminine energy, coming together through an eclipse right next to Uranus, the planet of progression, the planet of revolution, the planet of innovation. Step into your power now. Work out what it is you really want to do. Or if you don't know, then have a little session of finding out what you know through astrology, finding out what you have inside of you, what your natural talents and skills are, and take it forward. Plan how you're going to get there. So have the great ideas, because it's very creative. Venus is in Pisces at the moment, which is where it's working at its highest, most creativity. And this new moon is in Taurus, and Venus rules Taurus. So it's all connected. It's all beautifully connected. And so be creative, understand what you want to put in place, step into your power. It's a perfect opportunity for doing that now.
And I think if anyone's skeptical of this stuff, I'm just like, you've just got to look into it. Just be open-minded and look into it. Like I say, I never really, I love the thought of it before, as in the thought of I'm guided and the universe is working for me and not against me. But a few years back, before I really got into working on myself and understanding personal development and the importance of, doing what feels right for me, like I said, I found it very, very fluffy.
Yes, so did I.
I found it very confusing, and I didn't really understand any of it. But I think it's really important, if you are feeling stuck and you are struggling, just be open-minded and just start doing a little bit of research, start looking into it. I say we have literally everything we could possibly ever need to know at our fingertips now. It was not like that years ago. You can literally go onto Google, YouTube, and you can find out absolutely anything about anything you want to know. And now I find it so fascinating, like I say, especially after reading the girls' planners, because it is so them. Everything that you said in those planners is exactly them. And how you get that from just knowing their time, date, and location of birth is just incredible.
It is,
can
because
help you and service you so much.
Well, it can, because look, let's all face it. We know that there is a greater thing out there than us. We know this. We just don't look up to the skies enough, because we have our phones, we have the TV, we have so much noise, so many distractions. We've lost our ability to connect with our universe. Now is a great opportunity to reconnect. There are loads and loads of answers that are out there. And if I said to you that a lot of eminent psychologists are using archetypal astrology now on clinically based evidence to help socially challenged individuals, it's incredible. It is much, much greater than what you see, unfortunately, shown by larger than life sort of mystic looking people who go about as if they have been the chosen one to know about astrology and mysticism. That's not where it's at, as far as I'm concerned. Where it's at is that everyone, every single one of us, can embrace this. I used to think it was a load of baloney. I used to think it was just up, for people up there with the fairies. My goodness me, how wrong I was. And it was only when it really resonated with me, and I'm thinking, my goodness me, if I can do this for other people, this will be great. And so that's why I started that business, because there was nothing out there like it, and there still isn't. There's nothing there that is like a parental aid, a little booklet that just gives you a lot more understanding of your child to sit alongside your own parenting skills. Why wouldn't you have it?
No more mum guilt. And I tell you what, whatever it is that you're, you can be a mum, you can be a stay-at-home mum, you can be a working mum, you can be a part-time mum, running your own business, working for someone else. There's always that mum guilt. Am I doing it right? Am I giving them enough time? Am I giving them enough attention? Am I communicating with them right? So anything that can aid and support you in doing that, which these planners do exactly that, is a blessing. And it takes away the beating yourself up all the time over not doing it right or not quite getting it.
I was desperately upset at the time when I was looking at astrology first. I was deeply worried. I was crying myself to sleep at night because I felt that I was the worst parent in the world at the time. And I had, well, just almost given up because, I thank the Lord that I didn't give up, because if I had, I don't know where my young son would be now. You know, everything was rejected by him. He was really playing up. And it was no wonder, because I was doing everything wrong for him. And so understanding the complexities of each of us is what astrology is the key to. It's the key to unlocking that amazing amount of information, that amazing amount of potential that we all have. And to deny ourselves of it, you know, I think to myself, glory, you know, millions of people have passed off this earth without knowing about the wonders of astrology and the wonders of inner wisdom and inner knowing, the wonders of quietude, the wonders of completely understanding yourself so that you can go out there and do the work that you want to do, have the life that you want, be as happy as you see in your dreams. They haven't even tapped into it.
Statistics show, don't they? Statistics show that when they've looked into this and they've spoken to people that are on their deathbed, their biggest regret is exactly that they didn't do what felt right for them.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Didn't follow their inner, you know, their intuition, and they just got into the flow of what society wanted them to do, whether that was work or kids or buy a house, get a mortgage, you know, have another child, get a dog, I don't know. They just fell into that pattern and didn't do what felt right for them. So
very
let's
true.
Let's learn from others.
Yes, and why should you dim your light? When you think about nature, you know, the peony doesn't dim its light for the rose, and the rose doesn't dim its light for the lilac, and the lilac doesn't dim its light for the primrose. You know, they're all beautiful in their own essence. That is what we are. But it only takes somebody to come along and start trying to influence that light, dim it, restrict it, constrain it, and then you're not living the life that you could do. You're allowing others to manipulate you and restrict your light from shining. That is wrong. And unfortunately, we live in a society that is doing that a great deal. And we live in a society of comparison, which is causing all sorts of problems for our young children and the youth of today, because of the social media aspect of comparing themselves with others, etc. Forget all that. Forget all that. Teach your child that they are unique and beautiful in their own way, and that they can live the life of their dreams. It's important.
I love it. So what's next for you, for your business, and where is it going?
Right. Well, I'm doing very well with my astrology and my soul coaching readings, which I will continue to do. I'm also just about to start doing online readings for the general public internationally. And that is hopefully going to be launched end of May, beginning of June, which will give even more access to oracle card reading, that aspect. And I am creating my own oracle card deck, which Yeah, I'm so thrilled about. I've had it brewing for probably the last 3 or 4 years, and I've been very much encouraged to get it out there. So I'm currently working on that, and I also am writing a book about how to work with your children with their astrology, and how to identify exactly what their needs are, and how to go forward, you know, in a way that's going to allow them to blossom. So a few things happening.
So busy lady, but still sitting in that stillness and that calm. Because I feel that even when every time I catch up with you, there's still, you know, I will get on a call with you and I sort of do that. Just relax. And even your tone and everything just makes me want to just.
That's lovely.
Stillness.
That's good. Excellent.
That's a good thing. Oh, Stevie, thank you so much. So if anyone wants to get hold of you, how best can they go about doing it?
Well, you can email me, which is stevie@starplannersastrology.com. You can go on my website, which is www.starplannersastrology.com. And that's the best way of getting hold of me. The best thing to do is if you want to reach out to me, do it via my email. Okay, that's the best way.
Well, what I'll do, I'll put the links, the email links and the link to the website on the feed of the video. So this will go up on YouTube, and it'll also go onto the podcast. So if anybody wants to get hold of Stevie, they just need to go in and look at the details in that feed. Thank you so much, Stevie. It was lovely chatting to you today.
It's been great.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us and inspire us. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much indeed, Emma. And thank you everyone for listening. Thanks a lot.
Lovely. Take care.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.